ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ವಿ.ಸಿ. ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರಿಗೆ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್.
ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್.
ಹಲೋ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ವಿ.ಸಿ. ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರಿಗೆ.
ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ
ಸರ್.
ಸರ್, ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ನೈಸ್.
ಸರ್ 2 ನಿಮಿಷ.
ಎಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್. ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್. ಬನ್ನಿ. ಓಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್.
Learning is a matter of actual knowledge, and wisdom is applying it. With this quote, I greet everyone a very good morning. Today, we have all gathered here for the one-day national level workshop on skill enhancement in engineering education through National Education Policy, organized by Nita Meenakshi Institute of Technology in association with Indian Society of Technical Education, ISTA, New Delhi. Today, we have with us a panel of eminent academicians who will give us a little insight about National Education Policy, which intends to bring a positive change and new dimension to our education system. Let us begin this event by evoking the blessings of God. I now request Dr. Sriram to deliver the invocation.
महागणपतिं महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिम् महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं कोटिप्रकाशं शान्तं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं कोटिप्रकाशं शान्तं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियम् महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियम् महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषितवाहनमोदकप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषिकवाहन मोदकप्रियं महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request our principal, Dr. H.C. Nagaraj, to welcome you all.
Namaste. Very good morning to all of you. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor of Research Technological University, respected Professor Karisiddappa sir, our President of Indian Society for Technical Education, New Delhi, Professor Pratap Singh Desai, who is going to join in shortly, and our advisor, mentor, Professor N.R. Shetty, Sri Rohit Punja, our administrator, Dr. Sridhar, academic of our college, Head of Department of Mechanical Engineering, Sudhir Reddy, and all my dear faculty members, and also all my dear principals and other participants across our country. Good morning to all of you. Today, in our college, Nitya Meenakshi Institute of Technology, we arranged one-day national level workshop on skill enhancement in engineering education through national education policy. I'm happy that 300 plus participants have registered for this one-day program, and this program is conducted in association with Indian Society for Technical Education (IST) in New Delhi. I'm happy that our Honorable Vice Chancellor of Visual Technological University, Professor Karisiddappa, sir, has agreed to be the chief guest for this inaugural session of this one-day national level workshop, and he has accepted our invitation on behalf of our college and also on behalf of management of Nitya Education Trust and behalf of all the participants. I cordially welcome you, sir, for this program. Professor Karisiddappa, sir, is an eminent academician and also is also the first university in our Karnataka state to implement this NEP, and he is the chairman of the committee constituted by the government of Karnataka to implement this NEP in our Karnataka state. So Professor Karisiddappa, sir, is the main key person to initiate the implementation of national education policy in the state of Karnataka and also in VTU, Visual Technical Institute in Belagavi. And he has supported various projects, BE, BTech projects in all the colleges, giving financial support from the Visual Technological Institute, and also a lot of research activities have been funded in various colleges. And he has digitized the exam system in our Visual Technological University, and also brought our Visual Technological Institute to the greater heights with around 55 ranking in NIRF and all, and even Atal Innovation ranking also. So he is, I can say, he's a down-to-earth person, very kind-hearted, and also always oriented towards the improvement of the academics in our Visual Technological Institute. So he is the chief guest today to inaugurate this one-day national workshop. I welcome you, sir, again. And our president of Indian Society for Technical Education, Mr. Pratap Singh Desai, will be the guest of honor for today for this inaugural session. He has supported various colleges for faculty development programs, AICT and IST sponsored faculty development programs. He has initiated this in various colleges, and a lot of IST student conventions, faculty conventions are taking place. He is a very active and dynamic person, and I'm also happy to say that he was my student in earlier his BTech program. So he will be the guest of honor for this one-day national workshop inaugural program, and I welcome you, sir, for this inaugural session. I'm also to help happy to welcome other dignitaries who are going to join later, who are going to give the who are the resource persons for this workshop. One is Professor MP Punia, Honorable Vice Chairman of AICT. He will be the keynote speaker. He will be giving his keynote address by 11:15 onwards. I take the opportunity to welcome him also. And I also welcome Professor Gauri, who will be giving the afternoon session. He is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of University of Madras. So he will be addressing our participants in the afternoon session 2:15 today. I welcome him, and also I welcome Dr. O.P. Goyal. He is a Senior General Manager, Head, Bosch India Foundation, and also CSR and Skill Development Bosch, Bangalore. So he will also be addressing in the evening of today. I welcome him also, Dr. Goyal. I'm also happy to welcome all the participants who have registered for this program, and we know that NEP is very, very important. So a lot of changes are taking place in our education system in our country, with multiple entry, multiple exit system, with skill-based learning. We know that skill-based learning, teaching learning system should be skill-based, and also all our education should be student-centric. Earlier it was teacher-centric, now it is student-centric. So all these are important factors under national education policy. So for the benefit of all the faculty members and various principals of our country, this program has been arranged by our college on the topic skill enhancement in engineering education through national education policy. So once again, I welcome our dignitaries and also all the participants and various principals who have joined this program. I welcome all of you. Thank you, sir.
On behalf of everyone present here, I welcome our principal to the gathering. Asatoma Satkamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirkamaya. Let us make a bright start for the event by lighting the lamp. I now request the dignitaries to kindly light the lamp. Thank you all. I now request Professor V. Sridhar, Dean Academics, NMIT, to set the context about the program.
Very good morning, one and all. Respected and beloved Vice Chancellor Dr. Kanchidappa, our Principal Dr. F.C. Nagaraj, Administrator Rohit Punja, and IST Chairman Dr. Pratap Singh Desai, and my dear faculty members. Once again, I welcome you all for this one-day workshop on skill enhancement in technical education through National Education Policy and MIT. I'm today going to brief about the context about this program, and I'm very happy to be here to give a brief introduction about this program, because our VTU has set up an agenda to implement the NDP 2020 in this year onwards. We have taken a lot of measures to implement the curriculum as per the guidelines of AICTE, and also we have made few iterations to develop the curriculum and to implement effectively the NDP 2020. We found that just implementation of NDP is not sufficient. It is necessary to change the mindset of the faculty member and to educate the faculty member. Therefore, in this context, we started to make how to make NDP 2020 effective, and not only in our college, should be made available to all the our engineering colleges, and should educate our faculty members across Karnataka and across the country about the NDP 2020, particularly bridging the skill gap and empowering our youth for promising future, and how to implement the skill enhancement program in engineering colleges. Now, educating and skilling the youths of the country to enable them to get employment is one of the objectives of NDP 2020. The present day industry operates in an increasingly competitive environment. It results in a need for continuous employee skill development. The rapid pace of technological change requires everyone to continue learning throughout life. As per India Skill Report of NASSCOM, all the students entering the job market across the country, hardly one-third meet the criteria of employment set by the employers. The industry today wants ready-made solutions. It comprises 30% of major corporate gains, while 70% belongs to small and mid-sized industry. While major companies do involve in training their resources, the remaining do not feel that they can afford to invest the time and resources. Also, in a fast-changing job market, there is a fear that employees may change jobs soon or even go to competitors, and the investment in training becomes a waste. Industry prefer technical, skilled one instead of raw hand. In order to enhance employability of engineering students, it is necessary to nurture ethical leaders with practically oriented knowledge, benchmarked with the best global standards to enable them to lead organization to success. To make students more industry ready, the curriculum should give importance to internship, industry visits, and labs workshops. One of the objectives of national education policy is to nurture skill-based learning and enhance the critical thinking abilities, analytical skills, communication skill, emotional intelligence of the students, and practically train the students according to their field of interest and make them industry ready. In order to implement the NDP 2020 in engineering curriculum, it is important that each faculty member of the engineering college must understand the objectives of NDP, and also they should acquire some skill set of their domain of teaching in order to nurture the students. Faculty should know the industry requirements and undergo various types of practical training and enhance their knowledge to acquire latest technology. The curriculum should be designed with the ability enhancement courses and value-added subjects of multidisciplinary. The present laboratory should focus on imparting more practical training and create critical thinking and cultivate innovative skills in the students. Every engineering department of the institute should establish laboratories and skill development centers in collaboration with industry. Unless change in the mindset and skill enhancement happens in faculty, it is not possible to implement the NEP 2020 effectively. The main intention of today's workshop is to educate and motivate our faculty on the NEP 2020 objectives and importance of skill enhancement in engineering college. Therefore, we have made this workshop to nurture, focus on nurture skill-based learning and enhance the critical thinking abilities, analytical skill, communication skill, and emotional intelligence of students. Train and motivate our teachers at all levels because they truly shape our next generation of students. Make the faculty develop the methods of inculcating skills among the students in engineering education in the perspective of national education policy. So the few points which we have to enlighten on the on this workshop, and this is the where this is the just the beginning of one-day program, and we have already planned to conduct more on this NEP, what you call various issues, objectives, and other things in later stage. In the later days, we are going to conduct more workshop with the experts from industry and academia. I request all the faculty members to give importance to today's workshop and to participate fully with keeping your mindset open and to try to implement this NDP 2020 in your institution effectively. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We are pleased to have with us today Honorable Vice Chancellor of VTU, Professor Kari Siddhappa, who has presided over as chief guest. I now request Professor Kiran Aikal S from Mechanical Department to introduce our chief guest to the gathering.
Good morning, one and all. Today, I am honored to have the privilege to introduce our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kari Siddhappa, to the August gathering. If one taken a closer look at the characteristics of an achieving person, several virtues comes to mind: perseverance and hard work, our chief guest today is a living proof who has got a vision to transform the university from a teaching-centric university into a teaching, research, consultancy, and knowledge-centric university. He has got a vision to create exciting and supportive learning environment that transform the engineering students and inspire them to make a real difference in the society. He's a person who leads, who has a vision to be the leading pioneers in the field of technical education and research. He's a vision to train the young faculty in terms of curriculum delivery, teaching methodology, and to design appropriate need-based curriculum through academic staff college. Professor Karisiddappa has got his BE in civil engineering in 1981 from University of Mysore, securing 7th rank. He did his MTech in 1986 from IIT Madras and his doctoral degree in 1994 from IIT Roorkee, formerly University of Roorkee. Professor Karisiddappa has worked as a lecturer at Adichunchanagiri Institute of Technology, Chikmagalur in 1982, and he served as assistant engineer in PWD for a very short period of time in 1982. He served the Malnad College of Engineering, Hassan from 1983 to 2010 for about 27 years in the capacity of lecturer, assistant professor, professor, head of the department, vice principal, and dean, academic affairs. He has served VTU in various capacities. He was the member of Board of Studies, Board of Examiners, and also member of various local inquiry committee of VTU. Prior to his appointment as Vice Chancellor of VTU, he has served as Principal of Government Engineering College, Hassan from 2010 to 2016. He has a teaching and research experience of about 34 years in the field of structural engineering. He has carried out research projects sanctioned by AICTE, KSCST, DRDO, and completed various structural engineering consultancy projects. He has published several research papers in referred international and national journals in the areas of concrete technology, finite element analysis, neural networks, structural stability, and soil structure interaction. He has organized, attended, and delivered lectures in various international and national conferences. He has guided several MTech PhD students and also MSc engineering by research. Under his administration, the Government Engineering College, Hassan, is recognized as one of the best engineering colleges in the state of Karnataka, implementing good practices in teaching, learning, and research to impart quality education. He has got several professional bodies membership like FIE, MIST, FIA Structure, MISWE, MIGS, and also International Society for Soil Mechanics and Geotechnical Engineering. He is a member of several governing bodies, governing councils for various organizations such as Karnataka Examination Authority, Department of ITBT, Waterland Management Institute, Dharwad, Government Toll Room and Training Center, Bengaluru. Also, he is a member of Executive Council of Karnataka State Higher Education Council and Karnataka State Council for Technology. This is a brief introduction which I can give you to Professor Dr. Karisiddappa because it runs for pages together. I really thank the organizers for giving the opportunity to introduce a person whom I admire a lot. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you, sir. I now request Honorable Vice Chancellor, VTU Professor Karisiddappa to address the gathering.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Good morning, one and all. The guest of today's program, Professor MP Puniaji, Vice Chairman AICT, New Delhi in absentia, and another guest of honor, my beloved friend, Professor Pratap Singh K. Desai, President of Indian Society for Technical Education, New Delhi, the resource persons, Professor S. Gauri, the Vice Chancellor of Madras University, Dr. Goyal, a Senior General Manager, Head Bosch India Foundation, renowned Professor, former Vice Chancellor, mentor to all of us, Professor N.R. Shetty ji, Secretary, Administrator of this institution, with Punjaji, Principal of Meenakshi Institute of Technology and Academic Senate Member of PTU, Professor H.C. Nagaraji, Dean Dr. Sridhar V.G., Dr. Nalini, the organizing committee members, Dr. Sudhir Reddy, Professor Kapilan Yan, Professor P.V. Badiger, other members of the trust, faculty, members of MITE, principals, deans, other invitees, my dear participants. I congratulate and compliment NMIT Bangalore and also ISTE New Delhi for this initiative to have one-day national level workshop on skill enhancement in engineering education through national education policy. Very relevant, very appropriate, especially for teachers. There will be many takeaways from this workshop. Friends, as you all aware, the National Education Policy 2020 is a transformative policy which tries to restructure the education system starting from elementary education to higher education in this country. Especially higher education like ours, professional education, has been completely revamped, and we all need to understand the process and implement the policy in true spirit and have a concrete institutional development plan at each HEIs with the participation of all stakeholders, especially the teachers. The National Education Policy concentrates on learning-centric education, learner-centric education, or student-centric education with a multidisciplinary approach. And it has taken care of the requirements of the present societal needs. Generally, in many of the institutions or workshops or in media, we refer to as 21st century skills. NEP is concentrating on holistic education and multidisciplinary education. That means to say that we have reviewed the education policies in this country, and the government of India has come out with a transformative policy which talks on earlier Indian education system, which we had, which was very powerful and known across the globe, and later part, a system which was imposed, and now in the year of 75th independence, we are celebrating through implementing National Education Policy 2020 to have Atmanirbhar Bharat. When we talk about professional education, we need to come out with learners with appropriate outcomes. Outcomes-based learning, we call it as. The outcomes we expect are knowledge, skill, and competence. Our education system must give these kind of learners outcome at the end of any program we give them, whether it is a professional degree, whether it is a ordinary science degree or a commerce degree or arts degree or any other degrees you give them through vocational programs or in distance mode or various online mode, offline mode, various things are there. Basically, we need to have the graduates with excellent learning outcomes through the education system. When we talk about knowledge, or skill set required, or competency, they are all integrated. As teachers, we need to adopt certain new methodologies or philosophy in your teaching, and to teach the present generation, we need more than one set of skills or pedagogies to make them understand their roles properly. Hence, we need to understand our roles as teachers properly. When we talk about skill, through which you acquire certain knowledge, certain information, try to complete the task given, or try to solve the problem through the acquired knowledge, skill, and competency level through education system. When we describe skill, we describe in terms of cognitive skills or practical skills. Of course, we need to include the life skills also. If you look at the national education policy, all these skill sets, cognitive skill sets, which means that intuition, critical thinking, innovation, etc. When you say practical skills, means use of material, manuals, wherein you use certain practicals using your hand or through monographs, dexterities they call it as. That is this kind of skill set. All these kind of elements are incorporated in the education policy, NEP. The meaning of multidisciplinary itself is to address the need of the hour. In the opening remarks, Dr. Sridhar was mentioning about the employability level of our graduates. You can get employment only if you have knowledge, skill set, competency, and confidence of what you are expected to do. And all these must be given by the institutions or the teachers. So you become a primary factor in bridging the gap, what is mentioned in the opening remarks. So therefore, when you talk about implementation of the policy, you see the ingredients in the national education policy. We say multidisciplinary. That means a graduate will be having knowledge, domain knowledge. In addition to that, the additional knowledge or multidisciplinary knowledge. That means a graduate will have the knowledge in more than one discipline so that he or she is employable. That is the meaning of multidisciplinary policy we are talking. Holistic. It talks about life skills. In present day, you identify communication, then critical thinking, competencies, then information literacy, digital literacy, health literacy, and also many people of the present generation must be taught how to collaborate, how to have a teamwork, a leader or a team work done, and how exchange of information is taken place, and understanding each other, understanding our role properly as an administrator or a junior, or in our own hierarchy, we have principal, we have professors, HODs, associate professors. So we need to have a, a good connection between each one of us to come out with a model learning outcomes in our youngsters. Now, that is what the national education policy is talking about. When you say entry and exit, there is a flexibility in the system. People can go out. It is not that they are not able to complete their degree, they go out with a certificate, etc. No, they must come back. They must go out, learn certain things, learn practical skills, come back and realize the responsibility of them, learn cognitive skills. See, professional education, it gives more emphasis on cognitive skills. So therefore, we need to bridge the practical skills required along with the life skills. Now, NEP talks about only curricular activities. We do not have anything like co-curricular or extracurricular. The activities VTU in fact placed in position, including sports, music, etc., as part of education, as a minor degree, etc., or the intentions to give them life skills. For example, we have introduced many ability enhancement courses. We have introduced Universal Human Values 1 and 2. We have introduced health and wellness. We have introduced many open electives in NSS in terms of scouts and guides, in some of the certificate courses in library sciences, some of the other courses also in terms of fin technology, agri-technology, IoT, AI and artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain technology. So we can name many things, but they are all there in the curriculum of VTU. They are all there to enhance the skill set of the students, the knowledge required. You may have a very deep knowledge in one of the disciplines, but you need to know what is happening in the other field. That is the reason why VTU has come out with a computer integrated curriculum. It is need of the hour. That is what I mean, the digital literacy. Each one of you should have a digital literacy, not only to deliver the lecture in your classroom or guide your students in terms of internship or research internship, etc. Also to acquire knowledge. As a teacher, we need to acquire knowledge. See, we have to be first runner, then your students will follow. That is where a workshop like this will help you to acquire the skill set required by the teacher to implement the national education policy in education institutions. You are the most important and critical component in the implementation of national education policy. Unless you change your mind, unless you make up your mind to transform yourself into a teacher of 21st century need. So that's why VTU has come out with a blended mode of teaching. You have to make your engagements with the students meaningful and fruitful. In the sense that blended modes, it is not teaching online. Use that facility, digital intervention, to enhance the learning of our graduates. How to do it? For example, you may tell them to watch a video lecture given by an eminent professor in your own field a day before. When they come to your next hour, you must discuss on that. You must debate on that. You must take the critical view of what is learnt by them. See, we get a lot of information. We get information through various modes. Now, getting information is very easy. So, what is the right information? What is the correct information required by a graduate in engineering? How to streamline the whole lot of information available into a useful knowledge is the job of ours, is the job of a teacher. So that's why you must acquire the 21st century skill set first, and you must run ahead of them, then they will follow. The aspirations of the present generation is very, very high. I always keep telling you all, when the students have this much of facilities, when they have whole Vishwa in their palm, whole globe in a smartphone or a laptop or a palm top, when the information is available, why they must come and sit in my class or in your class? Why they must come? So when you put this question and go to your class with a mind to do something better than what they have, to convey what you have learnt is wrong, what is the critical thinking, this is what is intuition, this is how you have to solve. What you are trying to express yourself is wrong, or it is not that way. It may not be completely a meaningful one. So what you have acquired, because understanding level of each student is different. See, we teach the same teacher referring same textbook or a reference book would teach a group of 60 to 75 students. Out of 65 and 75 students, after hearing your lecture for 42 hours or 50 hours of same kind and identical way of assessment, etc., somebody would score 90 and somebody would score below 30 or something like that. Why is that so? Means the assimilation of the knowledge or the delivery you do in the classroom is not equal in all the students. So therefore, there must be something change in your attitude. Make all of them. Of course, all of them cannot get first rank, but definitely when they are eligible to become, join an engineering college, they are eligible to get engineering degree. It's up to them to score 50 or 55 or 60 or 70 or 90, but the way in which you deliver, way you make them understand is very, very important and very, very critical. So that's why not only you teach the knowledge or skills or competency and confidence in your classroom, we also need to learn to teach the present generation through digital interventions. That means you have various activities. If you look at the activities given by VTU in first year curriculum or later in higher curriculum also, there are various activities to teach a course. Earlier, reading and learning itself was a education. Now it is not so. It's not so. We need to learn the technology. We need to have the aspiration of the present generation in mind when we teach. So therefore, we have to update ourselves and have more than one pedagogy in there to deliver a lecture or increase the competency level of our graduates. It's simply something like that, like this, will not go through exercise will not help us in terms of enhancing the skill or the knowledge quality of our graduates. Therefore, we need to have those skill sets in us. For that, we need to work on, and we need to work in team. The teachers who are teaching thermodynamics, for example, for 4 sessions or 4 divisions or sections, if they can sit together and discuss, come out with a model that this is how we'll give a small seminar on this, a small project on this, to teach law of thermodynamics or something like that. See, activity-based learning, we call it as project-based learning, we call it as. That's what is the required in the professional education. So therefore, you have to make your student learn through hands-on training, activity-based experiential learning. So these are the components which you have to change and effectively use the time allotted. So we can do many things. So I also keep telling one lecture of yours is not equal to my 1 hour or my 2 hours are not equal to your 2 hours. Or whatever you deliver for 42 hours, you deliver so effectively, and somebody else may not deliver so effectively. So that is the difference in outcome. That is the difference in outcome. So when you say you want to build these kind of things, we need to approach through a new set of pedagogies or a new set of classroom interventions to bring in skill enhanced in our graduates and make them thoroughly strong in their domain, specific domain, and also one or two general domains or the fields, so that they have the competency. And that's why to bring in this kind of skill set in them, which has come out with major and minor degree policy. So each and every activity based on the 6 pillars which we has done are very, very useful, and they were all well thought with various inputs from national level and state level and at various workshops like this, etc. And that's what helped me during the pandemic to come out with only 6 pillars. If you look at the policy of the VTU, we have worked on only 6 pillars. One is relevant curriculum. The second is engaging pedagogy. The third is very transparent formative assessment procedures. Fourth is student support system. Fifth is continuous professional development of teachers like this. And sixth is research and innovation. If all of you work on these 6 pillars, especially the 5th pillar, the continuous professional development of teachers, and that can happen only through workshops like this, participating in various webinars, seminars, short-term teachers program, etc. And many of us teach a course in VTU, like affiliated system, like in, have more than 25,000 teachers. And definitely for each course, I have 1,000 to 2,000 teachers teaching a course. But all those 1,000 teachers are not unique. You have different capabilities. You have different way of communicating with the students. You have different way of teaching them, making them learn. So for that, you need to experiment yourself. You need to understand yourself first, then deliver. We may talk many things in workshop like this, but when you go to classroom, you make the difference. Not the vice chancellor come and do that kind of a difference. You are great. God has given you an opportunity to create good citizens, an opportunity to build the character of a student under your umbrella, and to produce an excellent engineer who can not only cater to the needs of this great country, they also cater to the needs of the entire globe. That is the power or potential my institutions have and my teachers have. Only a delta change, X plus delta X is required from you. You aspire to become a wonderful teacher. Each and every one of you make definitely an impact and definitely a difference in one's career. And that is more important and most important, that you do such a great job of creating a global citizen. So that's why these skill sets, what we are talking about, are become very, very important. They are not learned in one day. They have to be learned continuously. Teacher is also a continuous learner and a student forever, and students also must continue. So each and every activity, whether it is sports activity or a cultural program or a participation of in college level programs by the university, students, or classroom activities, project, internship, these are all learning mechanisms for all the skill set we are talking about. In addition to, we have this ability enhancement courses, health and wellness, universal human values, many things are included. But each and every hour you teach, they give the skill set of what I am talking about. The way you enter into the classroom, the way you communicate with them, they give the communication skill set. The way you use technology, the way you use electronic gadgets, give them digital literacy. The way you understand things and communicate, or make the way you write on your whiteboard or blackboard, that itself is the writing skill set. Many of my graduates are missing. They're not able to write a simple letter to Vice Chancellor for getting their, duplicate degree. You know. Sometimes, it pains me. They don't know. And also they don't know the protocols. They never send their communication through the principal. Some of my colleagues also, you teachers, you straight away write to Vice Chancellor. No, there is a norm. You have to forward it through your HOD to the principal. Principal would send it to the registrar or VC as required. So that is the kind of, societal skill sets required for behavior, the way in which we dress, we talk, we understand their problem, give a solution. Immediately, you may not be able to solve the problem, but you can, put them in the comfort zone. So that makes them this. See, that's why when students come to your college or institution or university, they must feel that they are in the safe hands. They are welcome to the system. They are protected. And they are, given due say respect as students, and you try to make them understand their roles. So that is the kind of education system the national education policy is talking about. So therefore, there is a lot of things to do, and there is a good, distance to travel. But the trajectory of learning curve, it is very well defined. So let us all walk on the path of learning, make our graduates globally recognizable graduates of highest quality, above all, the best citizens. I think with this few words, I am very happy to inaugurate this workshop on skill enhancement in engineering education through national education policy. And I thank Professor H.C. Nagaraju and his team for calling me, share some of my thoughts, and talk on this topic. The NEP policy implementation is very near to me and my team in university. So with the teamwork only we can do. I need your cooperation in future also to make a wonderful curriculum, and all the colleges, whether it's autonomous or affiliated, we all should have IDP, work on becoming autonomous as early as possible, go for your NAC or NBA accreditation, and so maybe in another 5 years, many of the best institutions under the umbrella of ETU shall become a degree awarding institutions. Some of them may become universities also, but that is the need of the hour. But quality, we should not compromise with quality. Quality will make us proud, and quality will only sustain and survive in this country. Quality of education. See, there is a thought process. There are many big people. One of the professors in South Africa mentioned that to destroy a country, you need not put an atomic bomb or a nuclear bomb on any country. You just weaken the education system. That is good enough to destroy the country. Therefore, you must not weaken the education system unless you concentrate on that. I think we will be very we will be the great losers, and we lose the opportunity of NEP 2020. So there is a competition, healthy competition among institutions. There is a policy in place. So let us all work towards the implementation of the same. So wish you all the best. You definitely take many things away from this workshop, implement them in your practice. With that, I wish you all very best. And once again, thank you all for hearing me. Good luck.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable inputs on NEP, which imparts multidisciplinary and holistic knowledge in the students, along with necessary life skills, and for your encouraging words for teachers to be leaders. The platform is now open to discussion. Any question from the participants may be put forward.
No questions?
Any questions can be put forward directly to the Vice Chancellor, to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, or can be type in the chat box. The questions will be taken up.
Thank you.
Okay, let us presume that everything is clear.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, regarding the ability enhancement course which our VTU has included in our curriculum, to a particular section, can it be the same to all the students, or should it be like an elective?
No. Yeah, it is different for different disciplines or the
Yes.
programs,
Yes, programs.
but it is same to all the students. For example, ability enhancement course in computer science and engineering in 5th semester, if you are offering, it is same to all. It is only the skill enhancement related courses or knowledge enhancement related courses. So you have opportunity of or say core electives or professional electives or open electives separately.
For a specific department and for a particular section, to all the students who are in the class, can it be only one course, or can it be like a different sub courses? Okay, like
No,
an offer.
One course. Yeah, you cannot make it as elective because it becomes very difficult. Maybe in autonomous system you can think about. Otherwise, handling that kind of a huge number in affiliated system with different, this becomes very challenging.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for mentioning to us about the 6 pillars which VTU is focusing on, and we would like to be in line with the same. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is a privilege to have with us today President of Indian Society for Technical Education, ISTE New Delhi, Professor Pratap Singh Kakoso Desai, as the guest of honor for today's program. I now request Dr. Vijay Kumar S. from Department of Mechanical Engineering to introduce our guest of honor to the gathering.
Sir, very good morning, sir. Welcome you, sir. Hello.
Yes, good morning. Very good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Dr. Pratap Singh Kaka Sahib Desai completed his BTech and MTech and Master of Business Administration, and he completed his PhD from Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Dr. Pratap Singh Kaka Sahib Desai is working on design and development of human bone prosthesis research. He delivered keynote address in India and abroad in conferences. He has actively participated as member of All India Federation for Polytechnic Teacher Association. During his tenure, in various organizations, he was instrumental in advocating the issues of granting pay band of 4 in all engineering and polytechnic colleges. He attended and participated as member of Indian delegation on various international meets such as World Engineering Education Forum, International Federation of Engineering Education, Global Engineering Dean Association Council in countries like US, Canada, England, France, Germany, and so on. He is the youngest ever president of the prestigious organization of ISTE New Delhi and is a past president of ISTE New Delhi, and he is an executive council member for the 2 tenure of ISTE New Delhi. He is a member representation India in Global Dean Council. He is a chairman of Indian Engineering Dean Council. He is a council member of Indian Council for Technical Education. He is a member of Advisor Committee for all core curriculum for the development of IIT New Delhi. And he visited almost 35 prominent universities in the world to study the technical educational scenario. And he initiated ISTE ASCT faculty development program in FDPs, and he received around 4.5 crores in this year. I welcome you, sir.
I now request our guest of honor, President of ISTE New Delhi, Professor Pratap Singh Desai to address the gathering.
Thanks, Professor Vijay Kumar, for a very nice introduction of mine.
Thank you.
Honorable Chief Guest of today's function and Vice Chairman of EICT, Professor Dr. M.P. Punia, the person who has inaugurated today's one-day conference, a very dynamic leader of PTU Belgavi, Professor Karisadappa, my teacher and the principal of this institution, the person instrumental behind the conduct of this conference, Professor S.C. Nagaraj, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. Let me make use of this opportunity to thank the organizers for inviting me over here and providing me an opportunity to interact with you all at the inaugural function, on the occasion of inaugural function of this one-day conference, and that too on very relevant topic of skill enhancement in engineering education. My dear friends, to me, engineering without skill, one cannot imagine engineering without skill. Because skill and engineering, skill and knowledge, both are synonymous terms. Both are the two sides of the coins. One cannot exist without other. Unless there is a skill, engineering is useless. So therefore, skill has gained importance, not now, but since ancient times. So if you have a skill, definitely you can do many things. It has become a buzzword today. Skill is nothing but it's a way of doing a thing, that's a smart way of doing a thing. You all remember, maybe knowing one mythological story about Lord Ganesha and Kartikeyana. Their parents, Shankar and Parvati, Lord Shankar and Parvati Amma, they gave them one task to make a Prithvi Pradakshana. And who comes first? It's some story in that. So Kartikeyan starts doing, completing that round to earth. Lord Ganesha, he just stood up, he took a complete round around both of them and touched their feet and said, I have done it. Because entire world, entire earth for me is my parents. So it's a simple thing. So he has done it, he has expressed whatever he wanted to in a simplest manner and efficient, best possible manner. And I feel that's what is skill. If you want to do something, if you can do it with the minimum efforts, minimum time, minimum cost, in the best possible manner, that's what is skill all about. Unfortunately, in education system, in Indian education system, since the inception, sir, Karsidappa sir rightly pointed out about the quote by one of the person that if you want to destroy the country, attack its education system. And in 19th century, way back in 1934, Britishers asked Lord Macaulay to study this study this country and present his report. And on 18th of February 1934, he came to India, and he traveled across the country. And while presenting his report to the British Parliament, he said, "I have traveled this country across its length and breadth. I have seen no beggar in this country. Such a high value, high standard, moral standards, high spiritual values and all, and it's almost impossible for us to conquer this country unless we break its education system." And then Britishers allotted that job, assigned that job to Macaulay to frame an education policy for this country, and the policy was implemented in 1844 in this country, and that policy took us away from our ancient education system that was strongly connected to the skills and the moral values, spiritual values, and everything. So they took away from us from that education system, and unfortunately, in this education system, today we have landed in such a position that there is nothing to do with skills and education, and therefore the issue of the employability is on the anvil now. Whenever I keep on reading the things, and I came across few surveys, I don't want to change challenge the authenticity of that. But the few figures are some organization called Inspiring Minds. It says that it's 18%. Some NASCOM says, NASCOM talks about the circuit benches. It says that it's about 12%. World Bank has talked about the 9%. So this is the employability of our engineers. One article I read recently talks about that 37% of Indian engineers cannot write error-free code. Almost 70% students today, at this moment, because we all are teachers, more than 65% students are opting for all computer science related branches. Some may be computer science engineering, IT, then all emerging branches like AI, ML and all, they are all related to the computer science. And if the situation is like this, if 37% of the students are not in the position to write error-free coding, then what will be the fate of our engineers? My dear friends, almost we are enjoying the benefit of a dividend of that's a demographic dividend. Experts says that almost 64% of our population is going to have an average age of 25 years. So we are going to be the youngest nation in the world. If this is a huge power, this is a huge potential. If we can employ this, utilize this for the development of the nation, I think our nation, it's the dream what our Prime Minister has shown to us about having a $5 trillion economy. I think it's not, it will not be a dream, it will come to the reality. It's very well possible, provided we employ this manpower, employ this youth of this country in the nation building. And to make them to utilize them in nation building, I think we have to empower them to do something. They must be capable of doing something. Few survey, one information I read somewhere about the percentage of the skilled population of the countries in the world. So percentage of the skilled population in US is almost 64%. That's in Europe is 68%. In Japan, it's 84%. And percentage of the skilled population in Korea is 96.4%. And that in India, you'll be surprised to know that it's just below 3%. If such type of workforce, if we take together, with such type of a force, we just cannot imagine forget about the winning, but fighting a battle against unemployment. Unless we empower this manpower to make them capable to contribute to the national development, I think it's very difficult. Or if we cannot do that, it's again it has a different dimension also. If we cannot employ them in the nation building, believe me, we will have to face a social problem of unbelievable scale. And Nelson Mandela once has said that technology is a strong tool to transform the world. Technology has that potential, and therefore, being a technologist, being a teachers in this field, I think it becomes our responsibility to train these youths, train this manpower, make this manpower, convert this population into the manpower and the human capital, so that they can change the fate of this nation. And therefore, having a conference on the topic like skill enhancement is very apt, very appropriate, very relevant at this point of time. I'm not an expert in this field, but I feel whatever Krishnappa sir has talked about and what, because Dr. Punia is a right person to talk on this issue, this subject. He will definitely deliver a very meaningful and insightful speech having insights. So I hope you all the best and a very happy learning a day. You will have a nice takeaways from this conference. And thanks once again, organizers, for inviting me over here. Jai Hind.
This I'm very happy. I'm very thankful to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You spoke very well, and gave the statistics of our country, less than 3% of skills. So it is very nice. So I'm very happy that you addressed all of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable inputs on skill and knowledge and emphasizing on empowering the youth of our nation. Thank you for joining us today, sir. We will now take a break for 10 minutes and then join again.
Don't log out.
Kindly don't log out. We'll just take a break for 10 minutes and then we'll begin again. Please don't log out.
রাস্তায় হচ্ছে দেখা গেল না কেন বলছে সইতে হবে লেগেছে
Yeah. Good morning, all the participants. I welcome you all again to this program. We feel extremely sorry for not getting connected to our keynote speaker, Professor Punya ji, Honorable AICT Vice Chairman. We have received the information that due to very emergency meeting, sir has left the office abruptly, and we are very feeling sorry for not getting connected to his speech. Sir's office has mentioned that in the later stages, definitely Professor Punya will connect to all the participants who have registered through this workshop, which we will ensure that it will happen on a later stage. So in the absence of Professor Punya, we have another resource person with us. He is a Professor Karunakar Rai. So he has accomplished his PhD in the area of VLSI and Masters in VLSI and Computer Science. I can mention that he is known for his multidisciplinary approach. Multidisciplinary, from his academic credentials, we can make out he has got a domain knowledge in more than one area. And importantly, for his ability and his expertise for applying the theoretical concepts to innovative projects. Those innovative projects have seen in the reality for various societal needs. And he has got an expertise in integrating the theory with the applications. He has been a very great team worker. Importantly, he is highly resourceful in national education policy in the state of Karnataka at both university and as well as a government level. In various committees, he has been a part, and importantly, not in the area of formulating it, especially in the area of executing it. So he has been a part of the execution team of implementing the national education policy in the state of Karnataka. And he has been a very great team worker. His voluntary services to the society is remarkable, especially during the COVID, and which has been inspiring a large student community. In fact, he has been a role model to many students and faculty. So we are pleased to have with us today Professor Karunakar Rai, who has all the expertise in the area of national education policy, and he would be delivering his talk in next 30 minutes. And on behalf of the entire organizing committee, I welcome Professor Karunakar Rai to this program. So with this, I'm handing over to Professor Karunakar Rai for his address. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy, for all the words. In fact, any discussion on new education policy itself is a matter of pleasure. In fact, many times it is, eye-opening. And it's my privilege to have a discussion on this important topic of new education policy 2019, mainly on higher education institutions. Without much discussing on the architecture of the new education policy on school education, today in my brief talk on new education policy, I will be more highlighting on the higher education. Yes. We know that the new education policy has got two structures. It concentrates on school education, and second is higher education. Both have their own features, but again they are interconnected, interrelated. And what is the agenda? When it comes to the school education, it's on education examinations. What are the basic principles of NEP? What we expect as outcomes, and keeping school education as well as examination in mind. Coming to higher education, it is integration of technology and what are the regulations, regulator bodies, credits, how the credits will be given, and the key features they make in higher education. Okay. Higher education. Let me directly come to the higher education. Yes. So here the points which I mentioned on the slide, they basically tell the structure and the key features of higher education. Why the new education policy in higher education is of very importance, because we know that though we have nearly 1,000 universities across Bharat, none of our universities, they are not ranked in the at least top. If I take 100 universities in the world, still we are, our competition is still in. We are still in the. We are not got a good place in the world ranking. It doesn't mean that our students are not of that. Not that they are of not standard, or we can't tell that we have not got a place in the rank because our teachers are not good. We can't tell that the intelligence of our students or the teachers is poor, because we had great universities before BC. You know that Takshashila University was a great university where Westerns, in fact, they were not knowing what's education. In those days, we had two great universities, Nalanda and Takshashila University. And people who are coming to these universities, they are from other countries. And we read the history. In the history, it is told that the security men in these universities, they used to take interviews for the students who are coming from other countries to study in these universities. It shows that we are not less to anybody. In fact, these two universities, they are BC. You know that in those days, many of the Western countries, they were not knowing. Still, they were in the, they were in the process of learning culture, all those things. But we were giving degrees. But if you see, now if you see the scenario, though we are giving the best graduates to the world, as far as the university is concerned, we are not placed in a satisfactory position. I am sure the NEP draft committee chaired by Dr. Kasturi Rangan, and the great academicians. They have put their maximum effort by consulting more than 2 lakhs of people across Bharat. Lot of interactions, feedbacks. Then only they have formulated this new education policy. And I'm sure down the line when we implement it with all the dreams, with all the roadmaps mentioned in this new education policy for school and new education policy for higher education, I'm sure we'll be placed in the best positions in the university rankings of the world. What is the basic feature? If anybody asks us, if you go to anybody, any house, and if you meet any parents, if they want to place their kids in the school, college education, the first thing they ask, what is that specialty? What is that new in the new education policy? If I can tell in 2-3 sentences, we know that now anybody takes admission to a graduation, say a BCom degree, we have a upper limit, you know how many years he can take a degree. In between, he has his own issues. If he discontinues, all the effort he has put so far, it goes waste. And he thinks there's no future for him. And if somebody who takes a science stream, if he wants to know about law aspects, present education system doesn't permit for it. So the dimensions are, very limited. There's a one aspect which we are really lacking in our present education policy, the old education policy, which was, which is given to us 36 years back almost. Now the new education policy tells that a very important feature is multiple entries and multiple exits. What do you mean by multiple entries and multiple exits? The admission can be done at multiple points, and the exit is done at the multiple points. Means, suppose somebody takes admission for a BCom or a BA. After 1 year, if you have discontinued, he will not be disappointed. And if you have to take a readmission again there is a motivation for that. So that is a very important feature of this new education policy for higher education. That's what is mentioned here. Higher education institutions will be transformed into large multidisciplinary universities, colleges, and higher education institution clusters, knowledge hubs. If I can explain this point, it means that now we have got so many professional universities. We know that in Karnataka we have got universities for technical education, university for non-technical education. We call them professional universities. And that will disappear when you implement a new education policy. And many of the institutions, almost all the institutions, they are affiliated to the universities. And the new education policy tells that this affiliation, we are totally coming out. No more affiliations. So what are we supposed to do then? That is very simple. The institutions should become universities. Then the third point, what we mentioned in this slide, we can see that we will get 3 types of universities. So all the institutions together or alone, they will become the universities. So universities, obviously, there will be 3 levels of universities. One is Tier 1, second is a Tier 2, and the third one is degree awarding colleges. So when I tell Tier 1, it's the research intensive universities. It stands the top actually. So all of us should try that. Our university, where we work, where we study, should be a research intensive university. The second level is Tier 2, is teaching intensive universities, where the focus is for intensive teaching. Focus is for teaching and learning. Where the tier 1 is, teaching and learning, of course we focus, but more focus is on research. And the institutions which can't become the university of this tier 1 and tier 2, they will be not under any university, but they themselves will be a autonomous degree awarding institutions, degree awarding autonomous institutions. I think this point is very clear. So when I tell multidisciplinary, coming back to the first point, it means that we can't tell that we have a university which will give engineering courses in electronics, computer science, civil. It can't be like that. When I tell a university, according to the new education policy on higher education, it can be the university should be in a position to give degrees, should be awarded on engineering, there will be institutions which can give focus on agriculture. People who are doing engineering, if they are interested to do some art course, they can do parallelly. People who are doing commerce course, if they are interested in Chitrakala, they can take a course on that. Somebody who is doing a law course, he can take a computer course in the neighboring institution in the same university campus. That's the beauty of this course. That's what we tell multidisciplinary universities. So the university itself has got multiple courses, and the university will give the degrees, and you have got a provision of studying, taking the multidisciplinary education in the university. That's what the key feature of this. So what is this clusters? Obviously, the institution make a cluster and they can be part of the institutions. They make a knowledge hub. It means that the institutions, they have their own hub for basically knowledge sharing, etc., etc. And it's rationalized. I need not explain much on this one. Next slide. So these are the key features. Of course, I explained in the first slide itself. So here on also degree will be, the undergraduate degree will be either 3 or 4 years. When you tell 3 years, when I join a degree, I can tell that this particular degree, it may be arts degree, I am going to opt for a 3 years course. But if I am doing a 4 years course, it will be mentioned that this degree he has got with the research he will get it. That's the beauty. If I do it more, 1 year extra, it's basically with 3 years course, I have done additional research on that. So where I can exit in the second year, I can exit in the third year. Again, after 2-3 years, again I can come and continue. That option is always there. In a lighter note, if I can tell somebody is joining a degree, probably when he is working, he comes, joins a course, he will do it for 2 years, and the parents they tell the son should get married. He can come out from the course. Again, he thinks that after getting a kid, he wants to continue the course, again he can go and take the admission. There's nothing like he has to finish in 3 years or 4 years. But the course is for 3 years total. So where the credit will be put? So there will be actually a digital credit system will be. As you do the course, the credit will be that it will be your points will be credited to the bank. The credit bank will be there. Very nice. Somebody wants to know what is the degree you have done, how much credits. Probably somebody, come and ask. We can tell you, go and check in the credit bank. Like you find out how much money you have in the bank. You give the bank account, you can find out. Like that, you can tell, go and check this degree credit, the credit bank. You can go and check how much credit is done. That's very important. Suppose the boy wants to leave, the student wants to leave the first year itself. He will not be sent just like that. After studying for 1 year, a diploma will be given. First a certificate will be given. If he is fine with the 1 year, he wants to come out, certificate will be given. Suppose he comes after 2 years, then probably a diploma can be given. Suppose he does for 3 years, a degree. There is a bachelor degree. Suppose he does for 4 years, as I told in the beginning. It's a degree with additional research, that's a certificate will be given. I told very clearly, academic bank of credit system will be established, which will digitally store the academic credits earned. Suppose I want to add more academic credits after my age of 40, I can go and do one more course, I can add more points to them. The last point I already explained, multidisciplinary education, research universities will be set up. the universities of that type of university. So what are the key features? Phasing of the system of affiliated colleges, I already told in my introduction. Over a period of 15 years, in another 15 years, this affiliation, which we really struggle to take affiliation of the universities when we start a new course. Either the university should have a provision for that. Suppose we want to start a new course, the lot of procedure is there, we know that. This affiliation system itself is a tedious process which most of the institutions are facing now at the university side as well as the education institution side. So it is expected that in another 15 years we are coming out totally and gradually, and by end of 15 years will come totally this affiliated colleges. Broad-based multidisciplinary holistic education at the undergraduate level. Of course, multidisciplinary I already explained. The student can study, yes, study on horticulture, he can study on engineering, he can study on law, he can study arts, he can study music. All these things will be focused for a particular course is there. Integrated exposure to science, which I already told, arts, humanities, mathematics, professional fields. That is what the flexible curricular structures. And the combination is done in such a creative way. The person, when he comes up with the degree, is very useful for the society. Now we know that somebody does a non-technical course when he is come out. Suppose a fuse goes in his house, he doesn't know. The electricity is not there because of the fuse is gone, which everybody should be knowing. Suppose the water meter is not working. Somebody who doesn't know anything about it, probably call the helpline, he will tell my water meter is not working. Why? Of course, there will be we can have a course on that in the day-to-day life, what the minimum things you should be knowing. That itself can be one of the courses in the degree which I am doing, of course. So it's integration of vocational education also. Yes, next slide. So what is the advantage of that in terms of key features? So there is a autonomy. There's autonomy. Faculty has got a huge opportunity to exhibit his talents, creativity. He can contribute to the field of education, in fact, the faculty. He can come out from the monotonous, externally imposed way of teaching, or the controlled way of the system. Probably the faculty can have it will give a autonomy to the faculty. Teaching methods, learning, unlock ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ Naresh Babu, please mute. Dr. Naresh Babu. And revamping curriculum, pedagogy, assessment technique, assessment procedure will be changed. The student support will be taken. What is the student support actually? In the evaluation also, we can take the help of the student actually. That's what the student support. It is not only teacher will be teaching. We can take the help of students to teach in the classroom. Somebody is very good in teaching, the student himself is very good in the subject, you can take the help of the student to teach. Professional, academic and career counseling. We know that we take a counseling of the career only after graduation, in fact. And after we finish the graduation, we will we'll try to find out what type of jobs will be there. Taking a file, going to 100 places, searching a job. But now the career counseling becomes a part of our education. A huge financial support for students. A national scholarship portal will be expanded. Reaffirming the integrity of a faculty and institutional leadership positions. These are next slide. Next. Clearly defined, independent, and transparent processes and criteria for faculty recruitment. tenure track and incentive excellence. I am sure teachers will be very happy to listen to this. What is this faculty recruitment? Tenure track means it's basically performance based. We tell about industry. Now most of the places basically how many years of experience. But in the new education policy, there will be tenure track and incentive excellence will be there on the performance sector. So a national research foundation will be formed to support the research. Governance of higher education institutions by independent boards having academic and administrative autonomy, of course. So there will be boards for each higher education institutions for both academic and administration. Open and distance learning is expanded and supported. More and more online courses will be provided with the help of digital repositories. Huge funding for research will be there. And student services will be taken. And MOOCs, already which you already started, AICT is giving so much support on this. So credit-based recognition for MOOCs also will be there. And what's very important, the point, we most of our students every year we send abroad for higher education. And anybody with a, who can get a finance support, he talks about education abroad. But integration of education, the new education policy supports. Now it is a time we should pull students from outside the country. The students, international students will come and study here. We call students from other countries. Foreign universities, it means basically it can be possible. We allow slowly foreign universities here with the healthy competition with us. We allow foreign students here and the faculty mobility across the universities here as well as from here to abroad or from abroad to here. This faculty mobility also will be supported and encouraged. So let me not much explain on these regulation aspects. Now we know that there are so many regulatory bodies and the institutions, universities, they get tired of regulations, hundreds of regulations. Now this will be simplified both for transparency and to avoid the the complexity in the process. Higher Education Commission of India, under the umbrella of architecture body, the 4 independent bodies will be set up. These 4 independent, this for standard setting. There will be a body separate. There will be a body for funding and for accreditation as well as standard setting. So 4 independent bodies for all these things will be set under the Higher Education Commission of India. Standard setting, basically the General Education Council and professional standard setting bodies. We call them PSSBs. Funding will have Higher Education Grants Council. We have a University Grant Commission, UGC. So UGC will be replaced by HEGC. Instead of UGC, we'll have HEGC. And accreditation, we have an NAAC. And the NAAC will be replaced by NAC, National Accreditation Council will come into picture. And regulations will be decided by National Higher Education Regulatory Council, NHGRC. Next slide. So they will light but tight regulations. When I come to light by tight means light. I told in the beginning itself, it's a simple, but there should be transparency. And the public and private higher education institutions will be governed by the same set of norms and regulations. So there will be uniformity in fact for both the accreditation as well as academic standards. Professional education, integral part of the higher education system. Now, the standalone technical universities, health science universities, legal and agricultural universities aim to become multidisciplinary universities. I told in the beginning, in the introduction itself, that whatever we have, the professional universities, they will become the multidisciplinary universities. We'll have a National Education Technology Forum, which is an autonomous body, basically for promoting the technology. And we will have the checks and balances to combat and to stop the commercialization of higher education. of course, we should put a cap on that. Just because the demand is there, we can't just increase the fees. Just because we have got a brand, we can't just take the money like that. So students' interest will be taken care. So there will be multiple mechanisms will come into existence. And a similar standard will be set for all institutions for auditing. And there will be a central advisory board for education, which will be strengthened, remodeled, rejuvenated for developing, articulating, evaluating, and revising the vision of education. MHRD, which we tell Ministry of Human Resource Development Ministry, will be renamed as it's renamed it will be renamed as Ministry of Education. In fact, MOE, MHRD will become MOE. Next. Let me not explain much on this. In fact, the entire new education policy for higher education as well as the school education, which will more focus on integration of technology, in fact, at each level, whatever the course it may be. So, the priority will be given for the integration of technology, basically digital education, online, and there will be translation of the materials versus languages like, across the country, the Sanskrit and all Indian languages, language institutes will be strengthened. Then, National Institute for the Pali, Persian, and Prakriti will be set up. Efforts to preserve and promote all Indian languages, I told already. And integration of technology at all levels. That will be the priority and the focus. Reference, you can refer. We have got the MHRD, website for the new education policy. New education policy is explained in detail in the MHRD. Two more URLs are mentioned here. We can refer. Of course, I'm sure most of us have gone through this the new education policy here. The key structure, architecture of this framework of new education policy for school as well as I'm sure all of you have gone through the framework for school education also. If not so, I think you have to go through the framework for school education also. And in detail, in fact, there's a detailed, the draft is explained in detail, in fact, which can be downloaded, in fact, that also we can do that. Thank you so much.
The house is open for the questions. If participants have any questions, feel free to ask. They can unmute themselves and ask the questions.
Probably, I think now we may not have much questions. Once we go through the, when we become a part of the new education policy, I'm sure we'll get more questions, of course. But still, we have to see that when we implement the new education, probably when we go through that, I think then we probably will get some questions.
I would like to thank Professor Karunakar Rai for joining us in a short notice and giving a insight of NEP in detail. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Uh,
I would like all the participants to kindly join by 2 o'clock for the afternoon session. We have 2 resource persons addressing us in the afternoon session. Kindly join by 2 o'clock. Now we can take a break and everyone are requested to kindly join by 2 o'clock. Thank you.